Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. It is time for the main event. It is the ISRL Division 1 Championship here. It is round 14 out of 16 at the Spanish Grand Prix here at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to what is going to be a very, very exciting session of racing action. Just getting ready to kick off our full qualifying session. 20 drivers on the grid competing, not for pole position just yet, but to try to make sure they're not in the bottom 5 positions. Of course, top 15 move on to qualifying 2. Bottom 5, positions 16 through 20th, they are out of qualifying, out in Q1, and then we do it all over again for Q2, and then of course afterwards it's the top 10 who make it through into qualifying 3 to then compete for a pole position for P1. But still a bit of a ways to go before that. 17 and a half minutes to go in qualifying 1, so still very early stages here in this qualifying session. And thank you everybody for tuning in. Hope you're going to enjoy the action here as we kick things off. My name is Fallen Monkeys, here in the commentator's booth to take you through the action. And we'll be joined here very shortly by ISRL Mushroom, who is going to help out with the co-commentator booth once he is here and ready to go. But I'm more than happy to take you through the action in the meantime until such time as he jumps in and can help out. On your screen right now, leading the way on their first outlap here in qualifying 1 is Josh 2 in the Williams car here. And Josh 2 has had a very good season so far. We're approaching the end of the season here. As quickly as it feels like the season came, it's unfortunately near the back end. And when I'm looking here at the standings so far, it's still the Alfa Romeo Schiaparelli leading the way, but it's Isaac Kush in second, but Josh 2 on your screen, very close behind, right behind here in third. 299 points does Josh 2 have. Isaac Kush in second, 301. Schiaparelli, though, leading the way with 323 points in the driver's standings. But this could all change here in the Spanish Grand Prix, and I saw a little bit of activity. Mushroom, are you here with us at all?
Yeah, I am here. I did actually make it just on time. So, very good intro there from Fallen Monkeys, running us down from what to expect this Spanish weekend. I've just seen Josh start a lap and then very quickly abandon it with a 24.8 in the first sector, which is far from desirable for the Williams driver.
Definitely so, as might not have been happy with his line through turn 1 and turn 2. Let's take a look. I was speaking about Isaac Kush there not too long ago in the intro, second place in the Drivers' Championship, and looks as though he currently has a lap that he is setting here as he's coming through, to quote myself in Division 2, the ever so dangerous sections of turn 8 and turn 9 here before that back DRS straight. But for a driver like Isaac Kush, who's been essentially the bane of consistency here for this entire season, looks to be no problem at all. It's a purple sector for him, and as he's coming around, it's going to look to be a pretty good lap. Only a few corners to go now. Takes a little bit of curb through the first of 2 chicanes. You might want to avoid those sausage curbs and those chicanes at the end. You'll lose out a little bit of time. Doesn't look like it affected him too much, as he puts up a very fast 114.3. So in one fell swoop, absolutely smashes the times that we saw from the Division 2 drivers. All the while his teammate a 115.6. And Josh 2 now on a bit more of a true flying lap. It was a very pedestrian 122.3 his first time around with, but Schiaparelli, though, through all of that, he takes a provisional P1 here with a 114.2, and he is currently heading the timing tables a tenth or so faster than Schiaparelli. But Mushroom, as we're going through here with 14 minutes to go in Q1, take us through what are some things we should be keeping an eye out for leading up into qualifying and of course leading into the race.
In this one, I think this is going to be maybe a bit of a Q3 simulation for some of these drivers. As you see, Schiaparelli going a 14.2. So there isn't really any strategy to this part of qualifying, it's just about going as fast as possible. The next one, I would expect to look out for who's going for the mediums, who's going for the softs, who's starting where. And then Q3, well, it's business time. It's where the best of ISRL puts it on the line for 10 minutes and says, this is what I can do, what can you do to respond?
Definitely, but still a little bit of a ways to go. But like I said, Q1, a little bit of Q3 sim for some of these drivers. Of course, the drivers we're used to seeing at the top of the leaderboards, the likes of Chapelelli, Izat Kush, Josh 2, Wooter, they're probably running maybe one lap, possibly two if they feel like they can improve. But I think given some of the times we're seeing already a lot in the 114s here in Q1, if you're right around, I think, mid to low 114s, you're essentially a shoo-in for qualifying too. And surprise, surprise, when I'm looking at the order here, a lot of the drivers we're used to seeing in the later stages of qualifying have that shoe-in here for Q2. And when I'm looking, that's looks like a racing point. Yes, that is Enden in the racing point, as looks like he had a moment on the exit of I believe it's turn 12, if I recall, maybe trying to get on the acceleration, riding that curb a little bit too much, a little similar to maybe what we saw Sergio Perez do in the real life qualifying, quickly diving into the pits and getting a fresh set of tires on. I'm going to switch over, though, to the Red Bull of CRL Duwil. Now, Duwil, he's missed a couple races here so far. We've seen a few reserves in that Red Bull seat, but back at it here is Duwil, and he sets a 1:15.4, good enough for 9th fastest, but definitely not the quickest lap, I would think, from Duwil. Puts him 9th out of 10th, and a possibility to fall a little bit further. His teammate Knight, on the other hand, he's really not having a good time this early in qualifying, as it's an invalidated lap for him, as I think he's trying to get back to the pits now. Oh, nope, never mind. He's going around trying to set another one here.
It was a very tidy lap that by Knight. He just definitely invalidated at the turn 7 and 8 just before the very fast right-hander. It's a very tricky little chicane, because it's all about carrying speed in, like a lot of this track is. Minimum corner speed really needs to be as high as possible for a good lap time, so it really is slowing fast out, so you can get the best lap time out of this, and this is what we're going to see from drivers, taking a very open line to try and make these corners as quick as possible.
Definitely. Now, I know I'm going to stick with Knight for the time being here as he's coming through a lap, and I know Knight, not the best qualifier here, all things considered. It's been a little bit of a struggle for him to get out of Q1, so I think maybe feeling a little bit of the pressure here is that Red Bull driver this late in the season, hoping to put in a few really good performances here, but he has shown up in the race for the most part, gets caught up in a few incidents, wrong place, wrong time, but we'll see if that can be rectified with a good result here in Spain. Right ahead of him, that was Jamian, who was on a lap diving into the pits. Knight goes quicker than his teammate. It's a 1:15.1 on what is now 3-lap-old soft tires, so puts him up into P8. But I think as qualifying one is starting to tick down.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
We've got traffic in the last sector, and they're falling over each other in handfuls.
Looks like it. I think that might have been the... let's take a look. That might have been Feral Fury, though, who was just parked up, letting some other drivers through. We've got Ryan Malta in the McLaren, covering for Passassin, who's normally in that seat. He was finishing a lap. Ryan Malta put up a really good time here. It's a 1:14.7. Puts himself 5th fastest here on the timing tables in Q1. Still about half of a session to go before the end, so definitely time to improve. So I wouldn't necessarily sit comfortable. Izat Kush, though, meanwhile...
We've got Knight running out of fuel on the way back, so let's hope he can stay out of the way here, because that's the yellow flag in sector 2. That's yeah, a slow car of Knight trying to recover, but they get cushioned total P's. A lot of these guys are only doing 1 to 2 runs on these tyres. They're not wanting to use these soft tyres as much as I thought they would. So
No, but I think
slightly.
it's one of those things. Sorry, go on ahead.
Schiaparelli's going. He's currently on a lap. He's 4 seconds down, but it's interesting that he's gone again.
Yeah, I mean, that's an invalidated lap for Schiaparelli, so it's not looking to be anything quicker. Maybe trying to make sure that those soft tires he's got on now are the tires that he loses out in Q1. But we'll see. Maybe looking to improve, solidify his position on the top of the leaderboard, flex that Alfa Romeo and that pace that he's shown time and time again that he has. Feral Fury coming across the line to finish a lap. What's it going to be? 9th fastest for Feral Fury. It's a 1:14.9. But just to go back, Mushroom, from what you're mentioning, Total P's is at Kush, only setting really 1 lap before retiring, and I think it's one of those things where they feel comfortable that their low to essentially mid 114s are going to be enough for them to comfortably make it through into qualifying too. And when I'm looking at the timing tables here, there's a lot of times in the 114.8s leading down into the 115s. So I think I'd like to think at least in this stage they might be comfortable. Of course, they only need to make it through into the top 15. They don't need that best time. They just need to be not 5th worst or worse than that.
Yeah, I'm going to draw the cut-off point now. With it looking so close, it may be a 1:14.6. Just behind Ryderdale, maybe in between Ryderdale and Ryan Malta. I believe every driver below that can improve. Eklund went on a 14.8. Knight's on a 15.1. Mark just invalidates from 19th. That won't help his day out any.
Nope,
so yeah,
not at all.
You said Knight had struggled to get out of Q1. I see this is a big opportunity. It's very close now, that midfield. I'm expecting maybe the top 6 to be safe, and then everyone behind them to have to fight.
Yeah, looking probably around maybe a 1:14.8, a low 1:14.9 might be the cutoff for Q2. Now, one of the things that you might notice as well is Netsky on your timing table. He is out of qualifying, has yet to set a time, currently serving a qualifying ban for an incident on the previous race here. So that is why he's not qualifying. So already there. That's essentially 1 position that's covered, so essentially it's only going to be the bottom 4 active runners. So some drivers can feel a little bit safer now, but if you're the likes of Jamian, who's only 13th fastest with a near 1:15 flat, going to have to improve for sure, and time is dwindling down here with a little over 5 minutes to go now in Q1.
If you're Netsky, you've been very smart actually. You've got a setup and you've built a race car, and you've put your setup and your race car together, but you've not gone out and tested it. So that means he still has now all 5 sets of tyres from qualifying, as plus as another 4 sets for the race. So if there happens to be a late safety car, I don't think we're going to get the fact of he has no soft tyres left that are new or anything. He's going to have more tyres than anyone. He's got the best strategy going into this.
Definitely.
He'll start the race on brand new tyres.
Yeah, I mean, the downside of that is he's going to be starting the race all the way down in P20, so he's going to have his work cut out for him as well, even with the more choice of tires that he's, if he wants to gun for the win here, he's going to have to overtake 19 other cars on the track, and
Mark
honestly...
goes 5th.
Yeah, 5th fastest for Mark, so he definitely puts himself in a good position right ahead of his teammates. So those McLaren drivers looking very similar in pace here in Q1. Mark with a 7:13 and Ryan Malta with a 7:57. So it's only a couple hundredths of a second separating these 2 drivers. Now, of course, Mark, we saw him in Division 2 not too long ago. So, I mean, Mushroom, between the 2 of us, we very well know the pace Mark has, not just in any car, but here around Spain. So I think after the strong race all throughout in Division 2, looking to try his luck here in Division 1, and could be possibly a driver that we could see possibly next season here in Division 1 if he keeps up the pace in Division 2 like he's had thus far. But it all starts here with a strong showing in here in Barcelona, and with sorry?
When I raced with Mark at the start of the season in Division 4 at races like Austria and that, Mark had a lot of progress in him and a lot of potential, and now we're just seeing that potential starting to come. Like, when I first raced him, he made quite a few mistakes, and he wasn't as good as he was now, but now he gets better every week. So I have no doubt we'll see Mark racing in Division 1 in the next season, and not only racing, but competing at a high level.
Oh, definitely. I do have to agree with you 100% on that, Mushroom. Especially, I've been watching him at least in Division 2 for the couple seasons now, and he has definitely...
Another invalidation for Knight. That's not good. It's not helping him.
Definitely. Oh, no.
He's right on the cusp as well. He's right there where he may or he may not go out at this point. If your own Vasseur improves, he's gone. So he really needs to try and string a lap together here.
Well, I think at this point, with 2 minutes to go, he's going to have to go around one more time and just hope for the best and hope that it all clicks here in Q1. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing, is Knight, as he's going for another lap. And we'll see if he can improve. His teammate Du Will's on an outlap right now, but Cohen coming through Sector 3. He's got a 1:15.3 for his name so far. I didn't quite see the Sector 2 time, but doesn't look like the most clean line through the final chicane there. But as he heads toward...
Let me just bring your attention to Nathan JB going third with a 1:14.66.
What a lap from Nathan. Yeah, absolutely putting that together with the 1:14.6. Very comfortably now finds himself out in P3. Ryder Dahl also down in 6th. Now, it looks like most of the top 10, even Eklund down in 11th, they're comfortable with where they stand here with their lap times. The one might be indicating a 1:14.8 as a cutoff. Feral Fury sets...
isn't improving. I don't think Knight's going to get out.
It's going to be close here with a minute to go as he's coming around the final corner. He had essentially the same lap time as he had one lap ago. As he crosses the line, he is actually going to go faster up into P13, so found some time in Sector 3. But for Knight, he's going to have a little bit of a hope and a prayer here with a lot of quick drivers. But crucially, Andon's out on an outlap. He should make it through. Sophion, though, down in P18, he's still in the pits, so he's going to be out of qual. He's not going to be setting one more lap. Your own Vasseur is on a lap right now, and Cohen is just about to cross the line. Doesn't improve. But now he's got maybe one more lap in him, but no ERS to work with. So Cohen, I don't think, is going to make it through into qualifying.
He's got Anden behind him as well, starting a lap. So you're going to have to find yourself getting out of the way as well. So that is it for Cohen. He won't improve from P16, I don't believe.
No, so Cohen's going to be out of qualifying. He goes faster up into P6 does your own Vasseur. And who was that who crossed the line right behind? That was Du Will, who goes faster up into P12. Knocks his teammate on the bubble.
Back on the cusp. Knight is now with a 14.9 under threat. If Jamie Wand improves, or even Anden puts a half-decent lap together, we'll see the Red Bull relegated from qualifying 1 straight away, which will be a massive shame because I know Knight's been really working hard at trying to improve this area of his weekend.
Yeah, and he's put in...
Jamie Wand is 4 tenths up in Sector 2. It's not looking positive so far, but Jamie Wand is on a very clean lap.
No, but now Andon, as he's going to come around the final corner, let's see first and foremost what his time is going to be. He's only going to go 16th fastest. So now it's all going to come down to Jamien. Can Jamien improve enough to make it out of Q1? Yes, he does.
He relegates the Red Bull out, and he goes up to P3 with a dominant lap there. That's a bit of a message towards Iggott and Chapelelli of, you're not so exclusive in them low 14. I'm here.
Yeah, and Jamian, I'll be honest here, Jamian was definitely one of the drivers to look out for. I know in the very early days of ISRL, all the way, I'm gonna say all the way back in season 1, about about a year ago now, a little over a year ago, but has recently found a couple struggles here. I think a mix of I think a lot of it due to just the pace improving throughout the seasons. But Jamian, if he keeps putting in laps like that, he can show that he can compete with the likes of Isaac Kush, Shapalili, even Wouter, who's a very lowly down in 12th, but does make it through into Q2. But there we have it. That's been the end of qualifying 1. The top 15 make it through, but unfortunately for the likes of Knight and in Cohen, Sofian, and Netsky, they are out of qualifying. They will be starting in position 16th through 20th respectively. They will get free choice of tires, but are definitely going to have their work cut out for them here. But as for the rest of these drivers, Feral Fury, Eklund, DeWill, Wouter, Total Peas, Malta, all the way up until Shapalelli, who's heading the timing tables, we will continue on into qualifying 2. It'll be 15 minutes of qualifying action to see who can make it through into the top 10 here to compete for the qualifying 3, that top 10 shootout to see who will start on pole position. But here we go. 15 minutes qualifying 2 kicking off in just a few moments now once we see that timer start on the top left of your screen here.
Yeah, last session was it was purely about going as fast as possible. This one, it's a very different ball game. It's all about what tyre do you want to start the race on? Where do you want to be in the race? Do you want to be pitting early? Do you want to be running long? Do you want to be in the top 10? Do you not want to be in the top 10? So it really does depend now on who wants to start where. We're seeing Shapalelli and a lot of the grid select mediums, but there is I believe people leaving the pit lane with softs still. So
looks like it. Both Williams drivers, Wouter and Josh too, they've left the pit lane on the soft tires. But Isaac Kush, meanwhile, he's opted for those medium tires, and it is something, you're bringing up a good point here in Q2, that, of course, you want to get the fastest time as possible, but there is that strategy call that comes into play, whereas if you do make it through into qualifying 3, if you do make it in those top 10 positions, the tire where you set that fastest time on is going to be the tire you start the race. So as we saw, it looks like the one stop is relatively powerful here compared to the 2 stop. So if you're looking to start on those soft tires, you might be committing to the 2 stop strategy, having to go soft, medium, mediums. Whereas
is this an admission of the Williams boys maybe not having the pace this weekend? Because Isaac Kush has gone out on medium. Shapalelli, he's got a set of mediums fitted currently in the pit lane. So is this Williams second guessing themselves from making sure they're definitely safe? Because I wouldn't have thought Josh and Sweet Crown, our 3-time world champion, would have been needing a set of softs for qualifying too. So
I mean,
there is interesting revelation.
Yeah, there is definitely that possibility. I mean, the other hand could be that they're just going to be setting, a banker lap here on those soft tires, and once the track gets a little bit quicker with the evolution, then come out right at the end of qualifying 2 and set that lap on
it the. Invalidated.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Turn 3. So hopefully he's got enough fuel so he can go again.
Yeah, because that could be a costly moment for Izat if that was with that invalidation, as he was out on the medium tires. You can, and I know some drivers like to do an extra lap on the mediums, take that first lap as a banker, and then set that second lap on the mediums as the ideal time. Oh my goodness, Wouter though looks like he goes a little bit deep through into turn 11 and turn 12, so that might affect his time, but could very well also be a coordinated plan here to artificially slow down that time of his, so we can look to improve with the mediums, even clipping the grass there
Yeah.
as he heads towards the line. A very pedestrian 1:16.9, very quickly smashed by his teammate Josh too, a 1:15.8. So I think Wooter playing a little bit of mind games there with the grid, looking to to quote a famous saying here in the Formula One world, slap a few sandbags in that Williams and take them out right at the end of the session with those mediums. But we'll see how it all plays out. Uh-oh. What'd you see there?
What's really interesting for me is, are the two Williams boys just trying to coax maybe Schiaparelli or someone else that they're maybe a little bit worried about running on these soft tyres? Because if that's the case and you go out at the 12th minute and go and set a 1:14.3, there is no chance that you are going to be... you may as well return to the pit lane and retire, because you are done.
Yeah, and I think when you're mentioning that, I think that's exactly what Mark was looking to do in the McLaren. Pulling a little bit of what we saw in qualifying in Division 2 here in Division 1. Mark running a good lap time on those softs and then slamming the brakes right before the line to then cross that line with a even more pedestrian 1:17.1. So another little bit of sandbagging here, and I think it's all part of the strategy in qualifying too. Make drivers think they're comfortable, and then right at the last moment, snag that, get that lap you needed, snag that position away, and make it through on the ideal tire. It's something we'll have to keep an eye out here. Ryder Dahl, I think he's just going for his lap time as he's on the mediums, heading through the final chicane here, heading around the final corner, and this is going to be the first lap time on the mediums we'll see set, I think. So what's it going to put him? It's going to put him fastest with a near 1:15 flat. Well. Yeah, and Schiaparelli, though, let's see what he's going to do. He goes faster with a 1:15, even more of a 1:15 flat. It's a 1:15.069, so a very nice time from Schiaparelli, I do have to say. But looks like now the medium tire runners are heading the timing sheets. Ryan Malta.
I'm very curious now to see. Ryder Dahl and Schiaparelli seem to look like they slowed down before the line. Are them 1:15 dead representative, do you think?
I don't think so, if I'm going to be honest here. Maybe they're all having a little bit of fun here in Q2, looking to keep some of that true pace in their back pockets, so that way they're not playing their entire hand before Q3. I mean, the likes of Schiaparelli and Ryder Dahl, they're two drivers that I'll be honest, I've kind of grown to expect to see them in qualifying 3. So probably looking to keep some of that pace, keep that hidden, so that way they've got it here for Q3. But Schiaparelli not on a flying lap this time around as he's coming in. Ryder Dahl neither, as they're just setting that one lap. Ryan Malta, he's currently on a lap coming through Sector 3, about to catch up to the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo. The Ferrari very quickly gets out of the way as he's aware of that. Close to an invalidation, it looked like, coming around the final corner for Ryan Malta. But he gets that time on the board he needed. It's a 1:15.066. So 3 1,000ths quicker than the time set by Schiaparelli on slightly more worn medium tires. They're 2 laps old for Ryan Malta, but it's still good enough for P1. Now,
just checking the comments on the stream, we've got some love from KTM Sweden towards Ryder Dahl, and we've got someone in here supporting Eklund and Ryder Dahl as well. So it looks like them boys have got some fans in today.
Yeah, I think we've got
rather well.
Yeah, a lot of fans here, a lot of Swedish support I've noticed for the likes of Ryder Dahl and even Eklund. I mean, Eklund coming with a 1:14.8 on those soft tires.
Got something to cheer now.
There we go. Yeah. So first and fourth are the 2 drivers there. So you love to see that here with 7 minutes to go in Q2. We'll see if they can keep up that pace. Jamie, and on the mediums, he's got a purple second sector, very quickly knocked away, as I think that's a personal best compared to no time on the board. But we'll see with essentially high 114s, low 115s as the times to beat. We'll see where Jamian can put himself in that Mercedes. Set that flyer at the end of the session in Q1. Can he keep up that momentum? Only 6th fastest on the mediums. It's a 115.3 for him. And that was, I think, very quickly beaten out by Will. But Will set his time on the soft tires. So we're starting to see, I think, if I'm looking at the fitted tires, still majority on the opting for those medium tires. Josh too goes 114.8 right as I switch over to him on the mediums. Isaac Kush, that was an invalidated lap for him as he just crossed the line, so not necessarily having a time on the board. And Wooter, I think, was the same idea. He went 1.6 seconds faster, it looks like, but it was an invalidated lap time for him, and he's not using any ERS this time around as he's coming around. And Isaac Kush, on the other hand, I think now he's on a lap, so we'll stick with him as he's coming head into turn 6, the downhill left-hander. Sees a Williams that very quickly gets out of the way. That was Josh 2.
Okay, here we go. Josh 2 has he dispersed of the Alpha Tower in between him and Wooter, and he's now slowing up to make sure he tows his teammate down this back straight. The Williams team is one of the most in touch and well-worked teams in ISRL. I have to admit, Josh and that Sweet Crown do work really hard with each other, but you can see them working together to make sure they fly in formation in qualifying to help each other out the most.
I like it, but who is now leading the way here? So it is Wooter who's leading the way from the two Williams drivers. Isaac Kush all the while crosses the line, sets a 114.6. Wooter, or Sweet Crown as we might refer to him as, he dives into the pits and he's currently outside of the top 10. So he's going to have to come out and maybe use a set of soft tires, unless he's got another set of mediums in his back pocket, if he wants to maybe set that top 10 on those medium tires. But with 4...
Kush with a remarkably quick 14.64, alright? So, let's just see if Chapelele is improving on his lap. How many of the sandbags did Chapelele have loaded up?
Well, it looks like he's got a purple second sector for him, so he's definitely gone faster here in sector 2 as expected. We'll right on board with the Alfa Romeo as he's coming around through the final sector, through that chicane, and diving into the pits once again. So looks like he's abandoning that lap. I thought it was going to be a good one there, but maybe not as quick as he was hoping for. Abandoning that one, and that's another set of medium tires for him that's essentially gone out the window. Now,
I believe your own Visser was held up by Isaac Kush having a little spin. I can't be sure, but I've seen a yellow flag and they both kind of slowed up together and he didn't just pass, so I'm not expecting massive improvement.
No, but your own Visser diving into the pits, and he actually shut off his ERS, so he abandoned his lap, did your own Visser. So maybe it was a little bit of an issue for Isaac Kush, who's going very slowly. I'm seeing that fuel light flashing, so could very well be out of fuel here.
Nathan JB's about to start a lap though, and he'll be the next one to cross the line on a proper lap.
Yeah,
he went P3 in Q1. He showed good pace, so I expect something the same. But an invalidation at this stage would only leave him maybe one more chance. So he needs to really hook it up first time right now.
So here we go. He's going to cross the line. We're right on board with him here as he's about to start a lap. You see that's Ryder Dahl coming out for one more lap as he's leaving the pits. Definitely out of the way here, but we'll see what Nathan can do. He's got no time on the board, and with 2.5 minutes to go, he's going to have to be perfect. Like you were saying, Mushroom, it's looking to be a good pace for him so far. It's a 21.1 if I saw that sector time right through sector 1. It's a purple first sector, but big lockup. Yeah, that's definitely not going to help at all, even especially with the tire wear if he's looking to make it through. But handles turn 8 fairly well from what I can see. Can he get turn 9?
It's out. He's going again.
Yeah, so I guess he is going to be going again, abandoning that lap time. So wasn't happy I think maybe the lockup was the big selling point here. But now leaving the pits, we've got a whole bunch of drivers now with 2 minutes to go. 4 drivers essentially leaving the pits back to back to back to back as they're going to look to get...
46 remaining. 3-time world champion Rel Wouter is 11th and looking like he may not qualify for Q3. Obviously we know he's got the sandbag in, but he did not improve from a 21-1 in the first sector. Has he taken too much out of the mediums?
Possibly. He locks up through into turn 6 too. So it looks like turn 6 has proven to be very difficult for some of these drivers. And now maybe at a very inopportune moment might be running into some traffic here. And he's going very slow now. He's backed out himself, looking to maybe go around one last time on those mediums. So a bit of a questionable moves from some of these drivers backing out here this late in qualifying, looking to put this right to the end.
Have to get out of the way for people like Ryder, Dahl and Berg, who are both on a lap. So Wouter gets out of the way on the exit onto the chicane, but he needs to go as well for a lap. So we're now going to come across a bit of the traffic like we've seen in the real life qualifying.
Yeah.
Berg goes 7th, no improvement, 15,000 slower.
So might need a little bit of a help now, unless he wants to go for one more lap. But I don't think that's the case, as it looks like he's slowing down for everybody else, as just about everybody's either finishing a lap or currently on a lap. I've been keeping an eye out on Mark, who's currently on his flying lap through Sector 3. A little bit of a tank slapper on the exit of that final chicane, but he crosses the line and goes 7th fastest, just a little bit slower than the time set by Ryder Dahl on those mediums, but currently in the top 10.
Out.
Oh, so look at that. Costly mistake for Wouter as he finds himself in a lowly P13. He's going to be out of qualifying here. Let's see what everybody else can do, but that's a big moment there for him. Costly mistake.
Invalidated. He's out too.
Oh my goodness. So drivers maybe leaving it to the last moment, not really working out for them. Your own Visser, it didn't work out for him either.
Oh no. Oh dear. When it rains, it pours for Williams.
So from bad to worse for Wouter, as not only is he out of qualifying, spinning, putting some extra wear on those tires, maybe having a little bit of fun. Feral Fury, he's crossing the line. He sets a time on the soft tires, but doesn't go faster. Only 12th fastest.
Nathan JB slows down as well, so
I think he's abandoned too. So he's had it with his qualifying. He's not going to improve. So I think Du Will sees that, so he's going to be safe. And I think that's the end of qualifying too, just like that. With Nathan JB abandoning his lap time, was not going to go faster. He gets that best of the rest P11. But the big shocking moment is Ariel Wouter, or Sweet Crown 19, the 3-time defending world champion here for Division 1, out of qualifying 2, and going to be starting from P13. He does get free choice of tires, but definitely has his work cut out for him, as what we could say his...
Another big name in there is Nathan JB in 11.
Yeah,
he was qualifying P3 in Q1. He had the pace. So that's another big name. Jamie Wan also was working very fast. So you've got 3 very fast drivers that all drew down to circumstance and now starting outside of the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's I guess it's that gamble that you're paying when you're leaving it to the last possible moment. And here at Spain, where the track limits can really get you if you're not careful, this is shown to be the case right here and there in this Q2 session, as Nathan JB, Feral Fury, Wouter, Jamian, and your own Visser are all out of qualifying 2, but that is the end of qualifying 2. Our top 10 drivers here, just about every one of which, other than Eklund and Du Will, will be starting on the medium tires. But now it's all to compete for pole position. 12 minutes of what is going to be absolute flyers of laps here, as now you're not looking to make a cutoff, you're just looking to be at the top of that timing table. who will get pole position here as Q3 is just starting off? Will it be a familiar face in Chapelelli, or will we see a new face here on pole position? Maybe the likes of Ryder Dahl or Eklund here they've got some support here in the chat. Maybe they can use that to their advantage here. A little bit of I'll say a quote-unquote hometown crowd here to put a lap in. But it looks like it's going to be Total Peas leaving the pit lane first, who's going to be leading the charge. But as I say that, it's Chapelelli who gets released just a tiny little bit ahead, and he's going to be leading the way here in this to start qualifying 3.
It's funny you mention the chat. There's a lot of support for the Swedish boys with Ryder Dahl and Eklund, but you've also got the two McLaren boys with Jakku coming in, supporting the Maltese, and then at the end we've got AJ Wuhan cheering on De Will. So,
yep, and AJ. I'll be honest, AJ Wuhan, unsurprising that he's cheering on De Will. AJ very much so trying to rep those the CRL drivers here who have shown a lot of pace, so I think he's going to be repping De Will, going to be repping Mark here in qualifying 3, and I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a cheer for Nathan JB too come the race time, but still a little bit to go before that. Still have to get through qualifying 3, figure out who is going to be starting from pole position, who is going to get that coveted P1. Now, as I ride on board with Chapelelli as he's going to cross the line, Mushroom, do you want to take us through a lap here of Barcelona?
Yeah, as you ride on board with Chapelelli, you come down towards the long turn 1 and turn 2. So you brake at about the 100-meter board, apex 1 and 2. You invalidated there, you took too much curve at 2. The long 3, you want to keep your foot flat. They take a very tight line these days. That's never a line I took personally. Turn 4 seems to last forever as you come down into the tricky braking spot of the downhill turn 6, using all the exit curve without invalidating, but obviously for Chapelelli he's already invalidated, it doesn't matter too much. 7 and 8 is a very tricky chicane, very easy to lose the back end. 9 is completely blind and pure face that your car will stitch. As you come up to turn 10, which was newly reprofiled, we've got the old hairpin here. He locks you up, he goes a little bit deep on the exit. Then you got 11 and 12, which 12 does last a long time as a driver. It takes a lot out of your tyres. And then you've got the very pernickety chicane at the end of the lap before you've got the very fast last corner, which we won't see him take as he takes to the pit entry and completely ignores the speed sign.
Very, very frustrated with that invalidation, I think, is Chapelelli. It's a...
So Total Peace first with a 1:14.5. Josh now takes that off him at 1:14.4.
Is that Kush, though?
Yeah.
Very quickly with a 1:14 flat.
Dead.
Let's see who else is on a lap right now. I think Ferg is going to be next to come around a lap. Ryder Dahl.
Yeah, he's gone with a 1:14.4.6, so he's right with Josh there, who we would think would be a big hitter in this race. Berg, almost identical.
Like it. So it looks like a 1:14.4 seems to be the pace for a lot of these drivers here, at least in the early stages of Q3. But of course, come the end, when the track is going to be at its quickest, that is going to be when we see the times absolutely starting to fly. But we'll have to see how it all plays out here. Eklund, though, he's on your screen in the Renault as he is starting his flying lap, coming through the high-speed turn 9. You can see that slight little bit of a lift from Eklund to keep the car within the bounds, to keep the car within the track. It's going to cost him, though, maybe a couple tenths of a second there compared to if he did take it flat out. But better to keep the car safe than bin it into the wall, so to say. And we'll see how that'll affect his time as he's coming through Sector 3. We've got yellow flags here. I think that was just the Ferrari of either Ferg or Ryder Dahl just getting out of the way here. But Eklund around the final corner, heads across the line. Only 6th fastest, though. It's a 1:14.6. 1:07, so not the quickest lap from Eklund here.
I feel like he made a few mistakes in that lap, and he won't be happy with that lap himself, but that wasn't particularly on the money for where everyone else is. He's looking maybe a 1:14.5 to be in the mix. Because I don't expect Schiaparelli to be in the 1:14.5. I do expect maybe to see a 1:13.9. So you're about to start his lap, so let's see if he can do it again. As we start the lap with Schiaparelli.
We'll take a look. I'm currently with the Red Bull of Du Will, also no time on the board as he's coming through into turn 8 now. We'll keep an eye out on, both Schiaparelli and Du Will here as they're on their flying laps. Now, Du Will finding himself here in Q3 after his return, his little hiatus, looking to have that strong showing here for the Red Bull. And as he's coming through Sector 3, he had a purple Sector 2, but I think that's a personal best here for Q3, unsurprisingly with no time on the board. Around the final chicane and heading towards the final corner now. Show me the time. What's it going to be for Du Will as he crosses the line? It's a 1:14.5, so right in the middle of the pack, P5 for him. Schiaparelli, though.
Double purple so far, first and second sector. So if he can hold the third sector together, I do believe he'll be on target for pole position. If he walks up though into the final chicane, not ideal.
Well, it might cost him a little bit, but we'll see how much as he's around the final corner. What's the time going to be? It's going to be a 1:14.419, so good enough for P2, but right around that middle of the pack here with those 1:14.4s.
That really shows how strong that lap from Kush was. That 1:14 dead is really very quick. And I think that's really just shown how quick that is. Kush goes again.
Yeah, I mean, he did invalidate, so unsurprisingly that he's going again, trying to save it. I switched over to Mark, but he has a big moment on the exit of the final chicane. That's going to cost him a lot of time, and you can see that right then and there with a 1:15 flat, so about a second off the pace for Mark. But I think he knows where he can improve, at the very least, on the exit of that final chicane.
He's going faster in sector... Oh, he's gone off the road. In sector 1, he was half a tenth up in sector 1, so... Kush has more time in his pocket.
Ryan Malta, though, he's got more time. Ryan Malta, though, he set an absolute flyer of a lap, a 1:14.2, so he puts himself up into a provisional P2 now with 4 minutes to go in Q3, so he put himself in a great position, but with still 4 minutes to go, lots of time to improve, especially with a driver. Josh Chu's on a hot lap as he's coming through up into turn 8. Takes it very nicely from what I can see. Same thing with turn 9. I didn't see any lift or didn't hear any lift from that the Williams driver.
10th up.
Yeah, 10th up and actually purple in that second sector it looks like. So definitely a faster lap time for him. Let's see if it's going to be fast enough to maybe snag that provisional pole position as Isaac Kush takes a pit stop. He might go for one more lap here before the end of the session, but Josh too deciding he's going to abandon the lap. He's going to dive into the pits here. So maybe just a little bit of a nerve lap for him.
Back into the pits as well. So we're in a bit of a lull in the session where everyone's coming back and refueling, taking on new tyres. So Ferg's been pretty clever. He's going to make sure he gets the track to himself for the most part. He's on an outlap, warming up them tyres on the Ferrari. So let's see how far Ferg could promote himself up that table, or will he end up further down and get relegated by some of the quicker drivers that we've seen, like Mark, who's obviously got more time in him.
Keep an eye out. His teammate, Ryder Dahl, he just left the pits to get his final lap started here in Q3. But we'll stick with Ferg going very slowly here, trying to get himself set up perfectly for his flying lap. Now he gets on the power around the final corner, getting that run he needed. Opens up DRS, and here we go. It's the unofficial start of qualifying 3. This is where the times are going to be at their quickest. This is where the drivers are really going to be pushing. It all starts with this. Who is going to snag pole position with a start like that, though? That's not going to help Ferg, as that's an invalidation through turn 2. Definitely
So
not.
Ryder Dahl will be your next one. The two Ferraris are out very early, but Berg needs to now turn that battery off and get it back to the line in time without taking anything out of them new tyres, so he has, at least has a chance to go higher than that P6.
Yeah, and the other question too is, I mean, hopefully for Ferg, he put in enough fuel in that car to be able to make it through one last hot lap. I mean, they can manage that, bump that down to fuel level 1 lean mix, so he can conserve as much as possible. But I know in Q3, especially near the end, some drivers might just fuel for just enough to get that one last lap in. Ryder Dahl, he is going to have to be perfect here, as he's going to be on his final lap, whether he nails it or not. Coming through turn 1 a little bit cleaner than his teammate here, as he keeps it valid, keeps it clean, coming through around turn 3 now. As he approaches the end of sector 1, what's it going to be?
Purple.
It's purple for him. He goes about 4.5 hundredths faster than his previous time. So that does put him on pace to go right around ahead of Josh too, who's on an outlap now, but he's going to have to find a little bit more time through into Sector 2 and Sector 3. He's going to have to knock off maybe 4 or 5 tenths out of his lap time if he wants to challenge for pole position as it stands right now. But now everybody is out on their final flying laps. They're just about ready to start their flying laps. We've got 30 seconds to go here in qualifying 3. Buckle up, and it is going to get good here as we all start with Ryder Dahl coming around here in the final chicane. He's got to nail this section of the track. Looks like he does a very good job here in that Ferrari. What's the time going to be? Heads towards the line. It's a 1:14.1. So it does put him into provisional P2. He could go again if he wanted to, but not going to. Who's next around? I think it's going to be Du Will who's going to be next to finish a lap here. So as he's coming through into the final areas of Sector 3, what's it going to be? Ferg is on another lap right behind, so we'll keep an eye out on him. And then it might be some of the heavy hitters that are going to cross afterwards. Du Will improves a position, goes 5th fastest here.
Through the last chicane. Out of the last corner for Josh.
Yep, Ferg went 3rd fastest though, so that's a big improvement. Josh too, he only goes 5th fastest.
Only P5.
Now what about Izad Kush? As he's about to cross the line, is he going to improve? Yes, he does. It's a 1:13. What a lap from him as he goes faster.
Excellent,
and he
the 1:14 shit.
He grows that. Now
T.
I'm going to keep an eye out here.
43.
Now what's Schiaparelli going to do as he's about to cross the line? He goes fast, but not fast enough. It's a 1:13.966. Solid effort for him. Ryan Malta, he goes 4th fastest. So Ryder Dahl, with that lap he had set, it is enough to hang on to P3s. He's going to cross the line now with his pedestrian in lap. But there you have it. Izad Kush puts that lap together where he had to. Gets a provisional P1, but Schiaparelli right behind him, starting on the front row of the grid in P2. So, 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship so far. 1-2 on the racetrack here to start the race in the Spanish Grand Prix. Izad Kush, though, he gets the better of Schiaparelli by about 5/100ths of a second, half a tenth of a second here, as it's the AlphaTauri on pole, Schiaparelli P2. Then you've got Ryder Dahl, Ryan Malta, and Ferg rounding out the top 5 with Mark, Josh 2, total P's, Du Will, and Eklund occupying positions 6th through 10th here. But all 10 of these drivers, especially the top 5, are all the way down to the top 8, separated by half of a second here. Even the top 9, if you want to throw Du Will into there, only 5.533 behind pole. So the lap times are very, very close, and I think this is going to make for a very exciting race here, especially off the start with everybody oh so close together.
Yeah, that's first blood to Izad Kush this weekend then. He's gone out and he said to Schiaparelli, right, I've got you on 1 lap pace. Now, it's whoever gets into first and make it to turn 1, I believe will hold the lead for the majority of the first stint, because dirty area on this track is so hard. We're going to see that as we go into this race more and more, that the dirty area will kind of limit the racing, and it will take mistakes off the drivers to lead to overtakes, I think.
Definitely. Now Ryan Malta hits that ready up button. He is the first to budge. So it looks like we're going to be kicking off a little bit earlier here than what we're used to. So hopefully the drivers got their strategy sorted out. And crucially, from the very limited view here from the pit wall, it's not necessarily looking all that sunny here to start the race. Looking like we've got a little bit of cloud cover. So maybe even possibly possibility of rain here. I don't think we've seen any thus far, but it's looking to be very cloudy now that we get a bit of a view of the formation lap. If I ride on board, yes, lots of cloud cover here in Spain here today, and this could very well possibly lead to some weather implications between now and the end of the race, depending on how this weather system proves it wants to do. Of course, it could go the other way of clearing up and allowing for sunny skies, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens here. Now, if I look at the tire wear, Zach Kush on pole. He's on the mediums. Chapelelli, Ryder Dahl, Ryan Malta, Ferg, Mark, Josh 2. Total P is the top 8, all on the medium tires. Crucially, those drivers who set their times on the soft tires, Duwill and Eklund, only 2 drivers on the soft tires, and they're down in 9th and 10th.
Josh has had a huge accident.
Big moment there as, and that's Total P's and the Ferrari of Ferg that get caught up together as they immediately get sent back to the...
Nathan JB as well, he's had a big off. Are these hard tires struggling?
I just got a little...
And Josh
so Mushroom, I got a little bit of a message from race control here. Looks like we've got a lobby restart. And I guess this is why drivers are having a little bit of fun here on the outlaps. So what I'm gonna do is I'll end the stream here while we get everything set up. But it is going to be a lobby restart, it seems. And once we get the lobby back up and running, we'll start the stream and we'll take us through for the start of the race here at the Spanish Grand Prix.